We're back on eBay and we're checking for notable sales. Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it.
We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is going on YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today again, like the intro stated, we're looking at some eBay sales that occurred last week. But before we go into that video, like always guys, I want to remind you, if you're not a current subscriber of the channel, do me a favor, go ahead, click that subscribe button for me, tap that like button. You guys know once we hit 5,000 likes, I'm giving away an Iron Man 1. Yes, it's a low grade beater, but hell, it's still a raw Iron Man #1, the origin of Tony Stark and Iron Man. With that said guys, I want you to go ahead and check out some of these great eBay sales. So the first book we're going to take a look at this week is this Amazing Spider-Man #3 in a CGC 0.5, the first appearance of Dr. Octopus. Now the reason it's a 0.5 is because it's missing the 12th page, okay? It sold last week on March 13th for $1,250 with free shipping from Canada. I don't know if that's why they jumped on this book. Regardless, when we go into the GPA sales data, as you can see, we have a 0.5 with the 12th page missing. The last sale was this book at $1,250. The 90-day average for this book, $1,150. 12-month rolling average is 1,074. 2022 average 1,025, and way back in 2021 1,171. So what's the first thing that jumps out at us? This book is ultra steady, hasn't really moved much over the past 3 years, and again, $1,200 for a book that is incomplete from the Silver Age, I think it's way too much money to spend, okay? Again, you can go out and get a 1.0 and spend a little bit more, or even buy a 0.5 if you can't go out and spend that kind of money that looks okay and is complete. I think that's a better buy than buying an incomplete book, even if this is like an ad page, which I'm not sure of. $1,250, man. That is a lot of money to spend on an incomplete book when there are a lot of copies out there to be had. That is only my opinion, but hey, to each his own. This buyer, he wanted this book, and he got it. Next up is this copy of New Mutants 87 in a CGC 9.8 white pager, the first appearance of Cable. This book sold on March 13th of last week. The book was listed for $671.95, but actually sold for a fixed price of $550 with free shipping. Now, you guys know this book has been printed to death, but it's also one of my favorite early 1990s covers, all right? Now, as we get into the GPA data, you can see that the last sale for this book was only $444. I'm not sure if this preceded that $550 sale or if it came afterwards. Regardless, this sale of $550 is not looking that great. The 90-day average for this book was $526. The 12-month rolling average was $576. 2022, the average was $586, and way back in 2021, $646. So somebody must have really wanted this book for some reason. I'm not too sure why. There are so many copies out there. As you can see in 2021, there were 148 copies sold, and it's only getting lower each year, 89, 97, and in 90 days so far, we only have 25. Again, if somebody really wanted this book, I guess that's why maybe they overpaid a little bit. But regardless, I think whoever got that $444 sale, they did an all right job. Now, it's only $100 over the last sale, so it's not that big of a deal, $100 if you really wanted the book. Either way, cool book, not an investment book, but I'm surprised to see the price where it is. So you guys know we had to talk about this book, right? It's been all over the Hot 10 breakdown of the week for the better part of 4 months, okay? It's been at the top spot a couple of times, and I told you guys when it first was on the list, I didn't want to pay any more than $300 to $350. It went all the way, I think, to $450 and started to come down. So let's take a look at this one. You guys know it's a Mega Man #3 in a CGC 9.8, the first appearance of Lobo. Now, you know, I talk about this book. If you're going to buy it, it's only got to be a 9.8. Too many copies out there, okay? Just like the New Mutants 87. If you're going to buy that book, it's got to be a 9.8. Now, this book was sold on March 12th. There was offered at a price of $370 with $15 shipping, but he actually ended up selling for just $350. That was the last sale. The 90-day for this book was $374 on 70 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $335 on 245 sales. The 2022 average for this book, $327, and way back in 2021, $338. So what have I been telling you guys? I said basically if you could pay $300 to $350, that's where the book is worth. Anything over that is just way too much money. And guess what? I'm illustrating the point right now with this GPA data. Way back in 2021, $338, and now the last sale, $350, right around what I was telling you guys to buy this book at if you wanted it. That's where the sweet spot is. This book is not going up anymore unless something drastic happens. But either way, there are so many copies of this book out there. I think Lobo is an awesome character, but I can't justify paying any more than what it's worth. All right, once I saw this book sell, I knew I had to talk about it. So here we have Amazing Spider-Man number 50 in an unrestored 8.0 according to the seller. As you can see, it is a raw book. This book sold last week on March 13th and sold for at an auction of $2,025 on 55 bids. Now, I did pull the GPA data for an 8.0, but let me start by saying this. If you are going to buy a raw book, make sure you can grade, make sure you're comfortable in the person you're buying it from, that they can grade. I know in this instance, if you're an eBay user, most of the time eBay will give you your money back if you spot any type of resto and want to return the book. So that's one positive for this sale. The next thing is I checked this seller out and he has 100% feedback, and most of the stuff he sold was comics. So that's another good thing. As you can see from the pictures, it does look like it's a super high grade copy of this book. Kind of hard to tell from this thing if it's an 8.0 or not, but again, we're going to take the 8.0 data at a CGC grade from GPA. The last sale for this book at a CGC grade is $2,833 back in February. The 90-day average for this book, $3,096 on just 2 sales. The 12-month rolling average, $3,414. Way back in 2022 average, $3,814. And in 2021, the average was $3,605. Now, you can tell there are not many sales that occur all the time in this such high grade. Yours truly owns a CGC 8.0 copy signed by Stan Lee and John Romita. And I'll be honest with you guys, I paid $5,000 for that book. So that book's not going anywhere. I absolutely love it. But we're talking about this book here in a raw grade form. He spent $2,000. If this guy wanted us to go ahead and send this book to CGC and it comes back in an 8.0, I understand it's going to cost about $100 just to grade this book and mail it out and get it back. But he could possibly make himself around $800 right now if it comes back in an 8.0. That is a nice chunk and change. If you talk about a 7.5, it's probably a little bit lower than that. So sometimes taking a risk can be beneficial. It's just like cracking out a book and then pressing it and sending it off again, hoping for a higher grade. Sometimes taking a risk can really help us out in the long run. To each his own. I'm not telling you guys to do that. But again, I like buying raw books just for this fact. I had somebody on my live stream the other day ask me about this book, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, the second print. Now, we had a sale this week at a CGC 9.2. This book was printed in 1984, and I believe the second print has 6,000 copies. So this book was offered at $4,500, but actually ended up selling for $4,250. Now, keep in mind there was $45 in shipping, and again, in most states there is tax on top of that. So we get into the GPA data, you can see that $4,250 was the last sale. The 90-day average for this book was also $4,250, with this being the only copy that sold in the past 90 days. The 12-month rolling average at this grade was $3,667. 2022 average, $3,683. And way back in 2021, $2,300 on just 2 sales. So what does this tell you, man? This book is hot. It was crazy hot for a while when everything from 80s and 90s nostalgia was going up. Second print almost had like a 33% increase in just about a year, but now it continues to go higher. I understand that the fact for this book, there's not a lot of copies out there, especially in the first print. It's only 3,000, and I believe 6, I said, with the second print. Regardless, this is a nice chunk of change if you want to own a first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. An awesome key. So I hope this helped the person that was watching me the other day when I was doing the live stream and asked that question. Seems like this book is a pretty good book to buy right now, so I hope that helps. And of course, the last book I wanted to talk about this week is a monster key. It is Amazing Fantasy number 15 at a CGC 4.5, off-white pages. Now, of course, this is the origin and first appearance of Spider-Man, and this book actually sold at auction for $38,077. 113 bids with free shipping. Now, I'm always a little bit skeptical about spending this type of money on eBay. I just won't do it, but hey, sometimes you can get some monster deals. So as we get into the GPA data, you can see the $38,000 sale was the last one, but the 90-day average back at $36,692, and there were 3 sales in the past 90 days. The 12-month rolling average is $45,441. 2022 average $53,259, and way back in 2021 on AF15 exploded $55,140. Now, the layperson is going to look at this chart and they're going to say, wow, this book has gotten crushed. But let's talk about the history of AF15, at least the prices over the past 20-something years. I could tell you a story. When I had my AF15 2.5 in 2000, I paid $4,000 for that book. Okay, it was a blue label. What happened was that book went up nowhere over 5 years. It absolutely did nothing. Then all of a sudden, up to 2020, maybe at a 2.5, was worth about $15,000 at that point. And again, it did nothing for years after that. Then all of a sudden, in 2021, this book freaking exploded. Okay, and then we got massive gains. You could see all the go 4.5 all the way up to $55,000. The one thing I'll say to you guys is this. It goes in cycles. This is not a book you're going to hang on to for a year and then sell it, 5 years, then sell it. This is a 20-year commitment when you're buying this book. If I held on to that 2.5 copy, what would that have been worth? Probably now about $25,000. So you're talking about a $4,000 investment turning over to $25,000 in just about 20 years. I'm not going to say that's going to happen again. I have no idea. But what I will say is this. This is the ultimate Silver Age investment book. There is no other character out there as popular as Spider-Man. If you buy this book, you're going to hold it for 20 years. That's what you got to do. That's it for the video, guys, this week. I hope you enjoyed this one. I tried to take some different books that we haven't done before, and hell, I even had an AF15 in there and a TMNT one, so hope you enjoy this one. Again, as always, drop me comments down below. Let me know what you think of these prices, these books, and if there's any other books you want me to check if they sold over the past week. One more reminder, if you guys haven't heard before, I'm giving this book away once we hit 5,000 subs, so let's get there as soon as possible so you can win this thing. As always, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.